Welcome to another episode of Translating Technobabble, where we aim to help IT executives and managers demystify application development topics, technology, and tools so they can understand the impact of their organization. My name is Gary Schultz, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Briebug, and today I'll be speaking with Todd Kleiman, a Senior Project Manager here at Briebug, on the topic of data science. Todd's been working in data science field for over 30 years. From coding to management, he's been helping businesses get the most out of their data and help make informed decisions. Todd, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
There's a lot to unpack here. Can we first start by just answering the question of what is data science?
Data science is the discipline of consuming data. In order to understand, organize, and create value for your business, you have to understand, organize, and digest your data too. It's also used for automating your business processes based on repeatable patterns, and it's for accurate measurement of your key performance indicators to get better.
Okay, how can data be used to help an enterprise or a business?
Well, there's several areas where data can really help the business, one of which most commonly is operations and strategy reporting tools. Every question the business might have is often answered by looking at data, the right data, transformed data. Business automation. Data dictates the obvious course of action. When certain repeatable patterns occur in the business, certain things should be triggered automatically. Every email your company sends probably isn't something you want somebody to type out and send by themselves. So data can dictate obvious courses of action that trigger automatically based on certain events. Efficient communication. Data captured at one point in the business or by one department in the business should not have to be entered again. It's error prone and creates the opportunity for miskeying. If sales enters information about a customer, all the other departments should have access to that to avoid redundancy and possible mistakes when rekeying the same data. And compliance. We want to look back in time for auditing purposes and opportunities to get better and course correct in a timely fashion.
So if those who are listening are anything like me, I'm already doing these things. I've got a CRM. I've got some marketing automation. So what's different here?
I'm sure you are pulling reports, but in reality, how many times are you pulling reports, or how many people are pulling out data for you? Most companies have different systems for different types of data. Like a CRM system might be Salesforce, and that's where your prospecting and marketing is. And then you might have something like Zora, where all your billing is. Then you have SAP, where all your finance is. And so you have a team of people going into each system, pulling out data, compiling it, processing it, and putting it into nice reports to discuss at executive meetings. Now, the problem with that is every time you like a report or need a different slice or a different question answered, that whole team of people has to get together, pull the data all over again, perhaps more data than they did before, recompile it on a regular process. And that takes them time. Probably every month or every week, depending on how often you need the data. And Gary, let's face it, you're waiting the whole time for that data, for your team to compile it, bring it together, to tell you that they feel comfortable with it. That's time that could be better spent strategizing and using data and making decisions off the data, perhaps answering follow-up questions without waiting a week to get the answer. That allows you to make decisions at the speed of business.
Yeah, we can relate to that. Okay. So you got my attention. What's the alternative here?
Well, the better alternative is to have a systematic way to pull data from each of these systems without getting your whole team involved. Everything should be coming to one central data warehouse where it can be organized. You can check the data, make sure it's right. You don't need people to do that. There's consistent checks you can do. And then a business intelligence tool on top of the data warehouse that lets your people interact with the data and build dashboards so that you can get your questions answered much faster every day. And these dashboards can help you to be proactive instead of reactive. You can start looking for new trends to stay ahead of the curve using these dashboards. You can use it for team empowerment collaborations right now. How is your team doing compared to their quota? How are the orders doing as far as fulfillment? And you can also look at the past. Whenever you see an anomaly, you can get at the reason. And that lets you have an active discussion using this tool rather than just a static picture of what you asked for last week.
So Todd, one of the things I love about these translating technobabbles is like just demystifying some of these terms. As we're talking about data science, can we step back and just talk about some industry terms and how to be talking about data science?
Sure. Well, there's some basic points you really should know if we're going to be talking about data science. First is the data warehouse. It's a central repository that stores raw data and allows transformed data that will be used by data consumers. In each system that you might pull from or acquire data from, it's all stored very differently, and you'll want to put it in one spot. Next is business intelligence. Think the layer on top of the data warehouse that makes sense to end users. The data warehouse is just storing the data. You don't want your business users going in there and just pulling out raw data. Business intelligence makes it consumable to build their own dashboards or learn what they need to. Data acquisition. This is sometimes called ETL or extract, transform, load. It's the factory that's acquiring data, the connective tissue between source systems and your data warehouse. Cloud hosting. A lot of systems today are not on premises. They're out in the cloud. That would be Salesforce, Zora. It's just worth knowing that that is where your data is. It takes a special type of development to get access to that data and bring it to the data warehouse. Lastly is artificial intelligence. It's where the data scientists are building models, trying to make decisions for the business. It's building machine learning over time. It requires a lot of time and effort and iterations before you get it right. It is definitely not the initial delivery from a data science team.
So is this if I know these terms, can I talk, at least navigate the conversation around data science?
It's a good place to start entertaining bringing data science to your business. These are just things to consider when you're trying to figure out where you're at in the process of bringing data and business intelligence in-house.
Got it. So what are the different roles of data science?
We'll realize that every business is going to have slightly different names or roles, or sometimes they combine these roles. But for illustration purposes, let's break it into four. You have your data engineers, which are full stack developers, and they specialize in acquiring and transforming content for analytic purposes. They're the ones going to your source systems and building ETL, extract, transform, load processes that pull data to your data warehouse. They may also do some of the architecture in the data warehouse that is helping to organize or transform the data. A data analyst is more of a business style data jockey. They create business meaningful content from the data warehouse. The data engineers don't have to know what that content means. The data analyst does. They're the ones transforming your data into actionable data sets that you can put business intelligence on top of, which brings us to business intelligence engineer. They are specialists in data visualization. They are taking what the data sets acquired by the data analyst and bringing them to a front end that makes a lot of sense to executives, to average data consumers. Lastly, a data scientist is often a PhD. Now we're talking artificial intelligence. They build models that make decisions for the business. We're taking away the time that you had to look through all the data and figure out the answers yourself. They may be working with the data engineer, the data analyst, or even the business intelligence engineer to leverage the infrastructure that's been built. This takes a lot of time, and it's a very specialized output.
So Todd, I think walking through what each of those roles do, what would be really helpful is how all these people work together.
So these roles are very complementary to each other. The data engineer is going to the source systems like Salesforce, Zora, SAP, and bringing the content into the data warehouse that we're going to need to transform and look at, and it's really the basis of our decisions. They may be actually acquiring it based on what the data analyst is asking for, because they know from the business what's needed. The data analyst then takes the raw content that was brought in by the data engineer, transforms it into actionable data sets that answer questions the business was asking. Then they work with the business intelligence developer to present the data in a form that the business will recognize. And they can interact with that dashboard to further refine and make decisions based on the answers to those questions. Lastly, the data scientist is probably working with all of these groups, collecting the problems, understanding what data is available for them to build models on, and what problems the business is facing, and answering today with just business intelligence that could be automated.
So Todd, after hearing that, it seems like there's very known roles and there's disciplines and how these teams work. Why isn't everybody doing this? What's holding people back from having what you call a shop, a data science shop?
And endeavoring to start a business intelligence platform is not an easy endeavor. You need the right subject matter expertise. You need qualified people to collect the right information from the business that the technical people need to understand to build the right tools. I've seen companies just take any technical resource and start building. That's always a guaranteed failure. Next, data quality. Very rarely is data quality up to scratch or where we want it to be when you first start building out a business intelligence platform. Nobody's ever looked at it this way. And as a result, it's going to take time and corrective action to make sure the data quality is up to par for business intelligence reporting. Lastly is data completeness. When you first start off, you'll probably have enough to tell some of the story, but not all of the story. Maybe some fields are being left empty, but once you start reporting and once you start using those fields for action, it just makes the business work together to get the right intelligence and business reporting out there. But it takes time, and that's why a lot of companies fail the first few times they build out a business intelligence platform.
So Todd, if I heard you right, people are actually trying to do this, but the approach they're taking is they're hiring somebody off the street and they're asking for what I now know is a combination of a data engineer, a data analyst, and a business intelligence developer. And they're asking them to basically, here's my data, go start running me some reports.
Well, Gary, if we're lucky, they hired those roles off the street. What I frequently see is people repurposing people in-house to do those roles. They don't even give it those names. What you really need is people who understand what those roles are for. You need the right experts inside to organize your technical group to how to build a business intelligence platform and to guide them to ask the right questions to the business and get the engagement of the business to get the subject matter expertise built into the tools so the business can use them. Usability is critical, especially in the early delivery phases of a business intelligence platform. If people don't bring in the experts and they, just try to do it themselves, what you'll see is the business will start to disengage and fall back to spreadsheets and the old way that they know they trust. It's really critical to get your business intelligence platform trusted in the early phases of its delivery, or it won't work. And a lot of businesses fail for that reason.
So we know the wrong way, not getting sponsorship inside the company with subject matter experts, having poor data quality, not having the right resource in thinking we can start running reports on this data, inconsistent, maybe poor quality, people that don't know how to work with the data. For those who are actually serious that might be listening, what is the right way to get started?
It starts very simply with a business case. Why do you want business intelligence? You probably have a really good reason, but it should be stated. What is the reason you want it at your company? What questions are you struggling to answer right now using spreadsheets or all that process we discussed? Next, investment size. Do you want a company-wide tool, or is it that one department just needed that data to help build strategy? Lastly, the right people. You really want to start off with the experts who understand how business intelligence works and how data science works so that you can build the right technology with the right structure for your business for it to be successful. In the first phases of the program, you will see people either engage in business intelligence or fall back to the spreadsheets. And you really want the former.
Todd, thanks so much for helping the viewers and myself better understand the value of data science, how it's used, the different roles, how to make sure that you don't have a false start, how to successfully get started. So if you guys have any questions or would like any support from an expert implementing data science in your organization, please go to briebug.com and schedule a discovery call. Until next time, thanks for watching.